Hey everyone, Topher here. So I'm an American YouTuber living here in Taiwan. Today I want to talk about the recent murder of Charlie Kirk, and I want to talk about the likely consequences of this assassination, plus some lessons that Taiwan can take away from it. For my Taiwanese audience that might not know who Charlie Kirk was, he was a conservative political activist. He would go to different university campuses and hold open debates. He would just have conversations with anybody who was willing to talk to him. And he's been disingenuously labeled by left-leaning media, Western media, as being far-right, a far-right activist. There's a lot of people who claim that he was a racist or that he was a fascist. This is completely wrong. The people who think this, they're stuck in their own echo chambers. I doubt they ever listened to anything that Charlie Kirk said. And full disclosure, I rarely ever listened to Charlie Kirk. I've really just watched clips of him. And when I did watch him talk, there were a lot of things that I didn't agree with. So I wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk. But I can confidently say that Charlie Kirk was not an advocate of hate speech. He was basically just a religious conservative. Charlie really just advocated that people should get married and have kids and go to church. He was just a Christian conservative. So to label him as far right, that's just completely incorrect. He never advocated for the suppression of speech or political violence or criminalizing homosexuality or martial law or concentration camps. None of that. None of the actual historical far-right policies. And I would say just ask any Taiwanese elder who lived under the martial law of the White Terror era in Taiwan's history. They understand far-right policies better than anyone working in left-wing Western media. So Charlie became famous for having open discussions, open conversations, debate with anybody who was willing to talk to him on university campuses. He believed in free speech and in discussion, and he was killed in front of his family because people didn't like what he said. And like I mentioned before, I don't agree with many of Charlie Kirk's viewpoints, but he shouldn't have been killed for that. That is a stupid reason to murder somebody. But what really bothers me is the reaction from Western left-leaning media and so many so-called tolerant liberals. People celebrating his murder in front of his children, it's just disgusting. Openly calling for violence because they disagree with someone, it's the wrong path. It's terrible. There's so many people who have been completely brainwashed by the propaganda within their own echo chambers. They've been radicalized, they're completely unable or unwilling to engage in any sort of critical thinking. When you see teachers celebrating a murder on a college campus, teachers celebrating a school shooting, that's the dangers of propaganda and how it can radicalize people. And as we know here in Taiwan, that propaganda is often amplified by foreign agents and foreign bots. So what are some of the consequences that we can expect? Well, I think there's going to be a huge backlash against Democrats in the US. Next year, there's going to be midterm elections, and expect the Democrats to have a bad year. Even before the shooting, they had lost about 2 million registered voters, and Republicans had gained about 2.5 million registered voters. And that's just going to get worse. So in the US, the Democrats have already lost control of the Supreme Court and the Congress, and of course the presidency. And I think it's very likely that they will continue to lose. Yeah, this assassination, it has incentivized millions and millions of voters, especially young voters, who would otherwise be left-leaning or center or not even politically active. Now they're incentivized to vote conservative. So expect the Republicans to retain their power and even gain more power at the state levels. And this is something that Taiwanese politicians and diplomats need to be keenly aware of. Unfortunately, I think that political violence in the US is probably going to continue to an extent. But I also think that the US government is going to start cracking down on platforms that allow hate speech and incentivizes violence. I'm talking about online platforms like Reddit or Twitch. On these online platforms, incentivizing political violence, any violence, is against their terms of service, but they're often not enforced. I think there's going to be consequences to that. More than anything, this showcases the dangers of propaganda and how propaganda, when it's supercharged by social media and echo chambers and foreign actors, can become extremely dangerous, can radicalize people who aren't good at critical thinking. Now, I've often said that CCP propaganda is more dangerous to Taiwan than the PLA. I stand by that. And honestly, it doesn't take much to defeat propaganda. You just have to encourage people to step out of their echo chambers a little bit. Listen to an opposing argument in good faith. It probably won't change your mind politically, but you can at least understand where that other side is coming from. And it might expose a lot of lies that you're being told. Just like how the message that Charlie Kirk was a far-right activist, that's a lie. He was not far-right. So I encourage you to step out of your echo chamber a little bit. If you hear something that seems pretty radical, it doesn't take much effort to actually fact-check it. And teach children how to think critically. How they should not automatically believe the 30-second TikToks that they're being bombarded with daily. So yeah, I guess the lessons for Taiwan here, the big lesson is to just stay vigilant against propaganda, teach your kids how to think critically. And my advice to Taiwanese politicians and diplomats is that the conservative right in America is likely to continue to retain power for many years now. All right, that's it for me today. I really hope that Taiwan can completely avoid all this ridiculous, absurd, disgusting political violence that the U.S. has started to see. I wish you the best. Thanks a lot for watching. A giant thank you to my channel members. I'll see you next time.